All right, so welcome back. We are now on video 2 of 2 in regard to parks and facilities available throughout Northwest Cape Coral. We're going to resume right now in Sirenia Vista with our walkthrough of that park in the exact same location that we did the split and ended video 1. Make it a great day. Thanks for watching. And down here at this point, all the way at the end, I have fished down here myself on numerous occasions. We are very close to kind of not the open Gulf, which isn't too far away, but as far as a large main water body being Matlacha Pass, we are very close to that with this location that we're in right now. So just about anything that could be swimming along in the open waters here on the west coast of Florida could very well be swimming along right in here. There are no restrictions. There are no bridges. There is nothing that would prevent anything that lives out in the open water from coming on and getting to this point. So in the cooler months of the year, so let's call that, November, late November, December, through February and March, back in this area here, it is not uncommon to be able to just sit here and observe some manatees hanging out in the shallower and the warmer water in those cooler months of the year. And again, you can throw a line here as long as you have that essentially complimentary license from the state of Florida. Again, they want you to be on record. They want you to be identifiable as a resident. And if an FWC officer were to, ask you for ID and a fishing license, you do need to be able to present one to avoid any fines or citations. But again, to stand up in a location like this and throw a line out and see what happens, absolutely no cost to obtain that and allow yourself that recreational activity. Boating traffic is a little quiet right at the moment, but at the time of recording this, it is around 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. So unless you have someone that's taken a day off or are comfortably retired and can do what they want every day, boating traffic is going to be a little quiet. Some cool restaurants along the way here, unfortunately. Right down here in Matlacha, was very devastated, primarily in Hurricane Ian, but incurred some flooding and some more damage, both with Helene when it went by last fall, and then Hurricane Milton as well. So that entire Matlacha area is still going through some recovery and rebuilding process from those storms that unfortunately came through our area here over the last couple of years. But you have Michelli's restaurant down here, literally just an infamous icon location with typically outdoor bands most days of the week. Lots of activity there. There is boatside parking. However, it is entertaining to observe if you are at the restaurant because, as I mentioned, this water body system feeds the entire Northwest Cape Coral Canal system that is brackish based water, so kind of a mix between salt and fresh. The tide and the rate of water flow through this area and then on down here along Pine Island Road and in front of Michelli's restaurant is at times absolutely ridiculous. I have been out in my kayak with a buddy, and we literally we had to pull off into a quieter area and wait for the tide to slow down, because in kayaks with paddles, it was like being on a treadmill. We were paddling and literally not moving forward, in some instances actually moving backward a little bit. So that was a really interesting, an interesting event. At some point I'll mention another YouTube channel that I have that's really just for a little bit of fun and kind of a hobby of mine. And there was some footage from that excursion in the rain and the tide and everything else. It was really rather interesting. But with that all being said, wanted to give you a look here at Sirenia Vista State Park here in Northwest Cape Coral. Again, you can come here and walk some laps, and as you're out doing that sort of a thing, you truly just never know what you might see here in our local water system. So I will not keep you on my walk all the way back out of this little corner of Cape Coral here. I hope you enjoyed. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. I am licensed for lending in the state of Florida and Virginia. NMLS ID 296861, and my name is Matt Pfeiffer, just for compliance and regulatory purposes, proudly representing Main Street Home Loans. If you possibly need financing anywhere in the state of Florida, I would be more than happy to see what I can do to help you out with that. And again, if you need an introduction to a real estate professional, even if financing is not needed, please don't hesitate to reach out. I have done loans throughout this entire state, and I know some quality agents all throughout the Florida market. And if you happen to be looking in a town or a city where I don't personally know somebody directly, it is very likely that I could reach out for you, talk to someone that I do know, and at least get a recommendation for someone in a market that you may be looking for your next home. Make it a great day out there. Thanks for watching. Again, please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this from the Southwest Florida marketplace. We'll see you again next time. Take care. So on my walk out of the park here, since we were just talking about manatees, figured I'd show you the little sign that they've got in place here. A little bit of information about our underwater sea cow friends. And then at the next bench here, there is some information about the mangroves and the importance of those to the ecosystem here really can't be conveyed enough. So there is a little signboard here talking about the mangroves and how they are the trees of the sea. And again, they are critically important to our whole environment and ecosystem here in the Southwest Florida market. And then I figured I'd share this with you as well, just to close out this current video. Right down here at the end of the walk, they do have a little section with a lot of plants that typically are going to draw in butterflies. And here's a little friend. How are you doing today? So this is a little just outdoor kind of butterfly garden, if you will. So if you lived in the area and you wanted to take a walk or a bike ride, sit down with your morning coffee and see what kind of colorful flying little friends might show up right here. Great place to do it. And there is a long list of butterflies that could be present here in Lee County. All right, so I decided to change things up just a little bit here from what I envisioned with this particular video. Since we were over at Jeffers earlier today and I was referencing soccer for the little ones, I figured I'd come over here to the main Cape Coral Sports Complex where the majority of local soccer league activity takes place. There are some other locations where some events could happen and things like that, but this park is undoubtedly the main park when it comes to soccer and some softball as well here in Northwest Cape Coral. I have personally spent countless hours at this facility a number of years ago. Both of our daughters were in recreational soccer from a very young age up until they got into school level soccer. So I will go ahead and get parked and get out of the car, and then I will give you a quick walkthrough of this facility. If you are coming to this area and you've got young ones that are involved in soccer and or some baseball or softball, this is going to be a place that you will be familiar with. I'll see you again soon. All right, so I am going to walk backwards given the direction of the breeze that is picking up here today. I am hoping that the wind stays off of the microphone for you, but we are at the Northwest Cape Coral Sports Complex. And again, as far as local recreational league soccer, this is some place that you will definitely find yourself hanging out. If you've got the kiddos involved in that sport or other diamond-based activities, because there are ball fields all around the outer perimeter of this park as well. There is the playground section, which you should be able to see just past me right at the moment. And there is a full concession stand that is open during practices and events throughout the course of the week, all week long when activities are taking place here. Out here are obviously not marked clearly right at the moment since it is the middle of the afternoon, but you are talking about this facility having soccer fields about as far as the eye can see. Way past the fencing on the outer edge of this park, you will occasionally see some people doing some horse riding. There are some stables and things over on the very outer edge of this on the other side of the fence, not part of the facility itself, but this park does back up to a little bit of a rural rustic spot where there is some equestrian activity over there. But I'll keep walking through real quick and let you take a look at this, because this facility is literally just ginormous. In our time at this particular location, I think we have probably been a spectator on every field that ultimately gets set up through here on a given day for practice or games. I mean, clear all the way on out to the back corner here. There are just field after field after field that get set up, from your little tiny peewees at 2 or 3 years old up to whatever age this caps out at, I think around 17 or 18. And we're coming up on the concession stand here right at the moment. So a variety of food items, typical sporting event or soccer field or ball field type food: burgers, hot dogs, nachos and cheese, oversized super pretzels and everything else. And it's all happens out of this one little window. So lots of drinks, lots of candy, lots of fun options for the kiddos. Oftentimes this part of the field over here, right in front of you, trophies and awards and end of season ceremonies will take place here in many instances. And looks like they're doing a little bit of resodding or reseeding or regrowth over on this one corner of the field. But with that being said, simply wanted to give you an overview of this park because it is truly huge. And I mean, just in the immediate area that we are looking, like right here, this is typically where the younger kids would play and games would be set up here. And there's probably 8 or 10 soccer fields that end up being present here for the the younger and the little peewee types. And then the older you get, the further out you go, just for the space requirements for the dimensions of the field and everything else. But wanted to give you a peek at this since we were talking about soccer over at Jeffers earlier. If you have any questions about this facility or anything else here locally in the Southwest Florida market, shoot me a DM, give me a call, send me an email. Happy to help out in any way I can, regardless of what information you need or what the request might be. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. All right, so I thought I'd throw in a little bonus footage for you. And in light of all the baseball diamonds and fields over at the Northwest Cape Coral soccer fields that we were just at, figured I'd run up here to the Northwest softball complex and throw this in as well. I'll be right back when I get in there, and we'll go from there. All right, so a little bit of bonus footage. This was not on my plan for today, but I figured I'd just show you this real quick. I don't know exactly what all sports leagues come and play at this facility, but I have personally spent some time at this facility. It's been a little while, probably 20 years or so, maybe a little bit more. But back in the day, I was on a local adult slow pitch softball league for a local restaurant, and there are a lot of those in this local area. So with that being said, this Northwest softball complex is a facility. I think there's 5 or 6 fields here. You can't see it real well from here, but there is a playground way past that field out there. But if you are an adult and you want to hang out with your friends from work and your company is involved in an adult slow pitch softball league, this is another facility right here in Northwest Cape Coral. Full concession stand when there are activities here. And again, at this point, we have not even left the quadrant of Northwest Cape Coral yet with everything that I have shown you here today. So just another awesome facility that if you're involved in something that takes place here, it's probably a couple minutes of a drive from wherever you may live in the Northwest Cape. And it is just another one of these things here that's like a little gem just kind of tucked away up in the corner of this part of the city. As you can see, looking around and behind me, this park is just kind of nestled right in a completely residential area. The same can be said for Jim Jeffers. That is right there near the charter school, which is Krista McAuliffe. Again, right there in a residential neighborhood environment. The same with the sports complex and all the soccer fields. Right in that immediate area, there is the Trafalgar Middle School, Trafalgar Elementary School, and plenty of residential housing. And trying to think. So yeah, Joe Stonis. Yeah, all of them. Sirenia, Vista, Joe Stonis. They're all literally just right in your own neighborhood if you live in that particular little spot or region. One of the very cool things about this city and kind of the way it's been built and laid out, and I'm just going to keep turning so you can kind of, get some background imagery and whatnot in the view here. The city almost feels like you are in a residential named community. Now, I am going to feature some communities here in Cape Coral. So there is like Royalty and Coral Lakes, and these are homeowner association type communities, with community pools, a guard shack, and all those sorts of amenities and features. Some are golf course communities, some are not. But Cape Coral as a whole kind of has that feel. Yes, you have your main corridors and you have your main thoroughfares and you have your commercial segments on those corridors with restaurants and everything else, imaginable that you might need. But when you get into any area that's residential, it just kind of feels like you're in an HOA type of a community. But if you have a single family home here in Cape Coral, there are no association fees. There are no community based fees that are placed upon you. If you were to pull up a property tax bill for a home in Cape Coral, you have your ad valorem taxes, which are the portion of the tax bill that the numbers are influenced by the value of your home and your property. Then down at the bottom, you have your non-ad valorem segment of the tax bill, and there are a couple of items on that for all homeowners in the city of Cape Coral. So there's a, a small fee of a couple $100 a year that goes to the fire department to fund that in the event of any kind of an emergency where those sort of personnel might be needed. There's a lot mowing fee, and there's one other general kind of irrigation or wastewater runoff fee, but it's a short list. Now, Cape Coral, when it was originally developed, it was a well and septic community as far as your water supply and your wastewater removal. We are currently in the midst, and this has been ongoing for years, and it is going to continue to be ongoing for years ahead, where the city and each individual housing residential unit is converting and migrating from well and septic to city water, city sewer, and then also city irrigation water. So if you purchase a property that already has city water and sewer in place, you may find that there is possibly an outstanding balance on those assessments for that particular property, and that just gets added onto the tax bill. Really just depends on what the circumstances are with the current owner of that property or the owner of the property at the time that the city water and sewer came through. If they just chose to write a check and pay those assessments off, then the assessments are paid in full. If they didn't want to do that or were not in a financial position to do that, then those assessments simply got added to the tax bill and they're paid off over a period of time. So there's been a lot of progress. There have been a lot of segments and pockets and regions throughout the city that are now city water, city sewer, and city like irrigation water, so non-potable water. But there are areas further north and further off to the east. Some of the southern half of the northeast quadrant is getting city water and sewer right now. Areas further north and further northeast, they have not yet hit the grid of activity of getting those assessments onto their tax bill or as a bill to the homeowner, nor do they have those services available yet. So depending on what you're looking for and what your preference is, if you were moving to this area right now, you could certainly find properties in some areas that are still on a well and a septic system. And then most of the southern half of Cape Coral at this point is all going to be city water and sewer. And areas in the north half of Cape Coral, it is kind of just depending on exactly where you're looking and how far you may be from the center line dividing the north and the south. With that being said, I don't want this video to get too long. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time, and make it a great day out there. If you are still here and you are watching this right now, thank you so much for watching. At any point, if you have any questions about anything pertaining to Florida or primarily and especially the Southwest Florida market, please don't hesitate to reach out. Send me an email, shoot me a DM, send me a text, hit my link, schedule a Zoom. I want to help you in any way that I can if you are moving or relocating or considering relocating to this area. I'll look forward to seeing you in future videos, and please feel free to share this with anyone else that you know that may be looking to head this direction. I want to help you in any way that I can, and I'll look forward to doing so when we connect. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.